Did you just cut yourself?
I did actually.
Dad, can I see?
Dad,
I want to see it.
brings me on my next knife.
Daddy, I want to see it.
Okay, so this knife right here is available from Harbor Freight for $8.99, and the blade is 8CR13 MOV. If you're familiar with knives, you know that is the exact same blade steel that Kershaw puts on all of their knives, ranging in price from, you know, maybe as little as 15 bucks. I've seen it on knives that they sell for $40 or $50. So I definitely thought for $8.99 this would be a great knife to just give it a shot once. See if it's as good as what Kershaw makes, you know, considering the blade is the same. The handle to me is like a G10, or yeah, I think it's like a highly textured G10. I had to look it up on the website, but it doesn't say what the material is. I'm going with G10. Action works well sometimes, but it's not consistent. And if you try to open your close it one-handed, the tab gets in the way. So I went across it like that, and the knife guillotined on my thumb, as you can see. It is sharp, but action, not the greatest. It does feel like a pretty good knife though, honestly, for the money. You know, $8.99 is hard to beat. And you know, you do have the thumb stud, and you have a flipper tab, and it seems to work best if you have it slightly downward, so you get a little extra help from gravity. But oh, locked that time. It's just hit or miss. It's not the greatest action, but I mean, I wasn't expecting much for a $9 knife. It's definitely not comparable to a Blur from Kershaw, but I would say, compared to most Kershaws, this knife actually hasn't seen a lot of use, only because the action being too hit or miss. So in that way, it definitely does not compare to Kershaw. In some ways, it feels like it could be even better built than some of the Kershaws, you know, especially in that $30 range. And if the steel's the same, it should hold up the same. I think it's still a good buy. I think I'd recommend it. Like I said, action ain't perfect, but I mean, could you really expect great action and everything to be perfect on a $9 knife? That's brand new. That's not used. That is a brand new knife for under $10. So in that regard, I do recommend it. One-handed operation, it works sometimes, not all the time, so that's a little bit of a downside, but you know, I can't state it enough. I mean, it's under $10 for a brand new knife, so you can't really expect perfection, but it does work, and the action will work every time if you give it a little flick of the wrist at the same time. You know, it'll lock up good and tight, a little wrist action. So that's not serious, but you know, it works. Ouch, did it again. Guillotined my thumb for a second time with it, and I've never done that before, and I've done it twice with this knife in 2 minutes. So I do recommend, you know, being careful, because that one's pretty good. Got myself pretty good that time, but I always try to do the one-handed opening, and it's almost like there's very little detent in the lockup. So yeah, we're getting blood everywhere now, but it shuts so fast, and that's ultimately, you know, kind of a risky run when you try to use them one-handed. It's a little unpredictable, not like a lot of knives I've had where, you know, it was predictable. This one's very much unpredictable. So yeah, second time I bit myself with a knife, just an operation, ever. And both times were with this knife in a total span of like 2 minutes. So maybe I'll put on there, you know, seems to be worth the money, but buy at your own risk, because it's very unpredictable. And I don't know. I don't really care for that because it's just like a fine line. Like when you slide the lock out of the way and close it. It's like when you try to get your thumb out of the way of the tab, it flies back real fast and will cut you. That's what's happening. So it seems to have better action closing than it does opening, for sure. But it's still unpredictable. Most of my knives that are liner lock, I can do this 100 times in a row. Almost got myself on the corner of my thumb. I can't get it out of the way fast enough. And I can do that a lot with all my knives and never cut myself.
I think you should put the knife down.
Yeah, I probably should go get a Band-Aid or something because I'm starting to get blood on my knife.